Good afternoon. How are you today? Temperature's not bad. A little overcast, but no rain. I've been following in the background while I'm doing other work the Rittenhouse case. The fella who is accused of shooting 3 people, killing 2 on the evening of a protest in Kenosha, Wisconsin, because of the police shooting of a person of color, seemingly without cause. The judge in the case, as best I can tell, seems biased toward the defense. I can't say why, but it could be political. The defendant, Rittenhouse, is himself associated with these radical white supremacists, according to testimony that will not get into the trial, apparently. And that's in large part because of the judge. My take on the trial was that the judge tongue-lashed the prosecutor to limit certain evidence that maybe should have gotten in. And then there was, of course, a legitimate question about some evidence that should get in. And it's always dangerous to comment on a trial when you haven't seen the evidence yourself and follow pretrial rulings. But the attorneys in the area all say that this judge is biased, and it's been expressed in cases before. So it may get charged out of the court, or it may go to the jury, and it may go to the jury as early as Friday. The deliberations could begin on Monday. I'm assuming the judge is not going to have them sit and decide it over the weekend. Sometimes a mistake, though. And it's not clear whether he's going to, put them away and separate them from the public. So we'll see how that works. How do I see the case? I have a simplified version. You should discredit it to the extent that I haven't studied the whole case and been paying attention to it. And I don't know what evidence hasn't gotten in. But it strikes me that this guy traveled 20 miles to be present there with a high-powered weapon, an AR-15, that he couldn't possess himself because when it was purchased, he was 17. He traveled across state lines with this gun. He claimed to be there to protect property and to take care of people. He pretended to be, but was not a tech, to take care of people. So he's got lots of small and large lies. And he was repeatedly asked at the trial, why'd you go there with such a weapon? Now, I have seen tapes, and I believe this is 100% correct. One, a gun went off the fateful night when this whole series of shootings happened. It had nothing to do with the 3 people who ultimately were victims of Rittenhouse. The gun was fired, and I don't know the directions, but if you were to lay it in a plane left to right, because that's where I've seen the pictures, the gun went off to the left, and we know this because in the dark there was it was visible. You could see the light from a report from the gun or rifle or whatever it was. It wasn't aimed at Rittenhouse. Rittenhouse, I guess, believed it was aimed at him, and he turned his AR-15 on Mr. Rosenbaum, who was unarmed, who he said was charging him. And Rosenbaum had earlier threatened him. Rosenbaum had no weapons, he was shot, and he was killed. A second man, Huber, I believe his name was, he had a skateboard by which he got around, and he then attacked our Kyle, our avenging angel, and he was hitting him with a skateboard. And what happened next was he was shot and killed. A third man, the only man who had a weapon, whose name was Grosskreutz. I remember it because it's like big cross auf Deutsch, Grosskreutz. and he was wounded in the arm, and he went away. He knew Huber; they were friends, and he was, of course, downcast by worse than downcast, very upset by what happened to his friend. So, taking those bare facts together, I think I could find a bunch of things to convict him of. The question is, what will the jury find, and how much BS will stop this? It is pretty clear to me that his perception of the danger to him, Kyle's perceived danger, was this shot that had nothing to do with the 3 people he engaged or himself. And it tells us something about allowing youth to have weapons legally or illegally, and this one was illegal. Supposedly his friend bought it, and his friend was dating Kyle's sister. It's a mess. So what would be a fair result here? A conviction, and this guy spent the rest of his life in prison. That would be a fair result. This is my liberal side. I always viewed the notion of liberal is that being fair, being proportionate in charges and in sentencing. And this case screams for a result separate and apart from the dialogue that's going on in America of 2 sides shouting at each other about the future of America. And on one side, as far as I can tell, they're a racist. And on the other side, there are people who believe that we really should be treated equal, and that protest is a way to enunciate the difference between what we should be doing and what we are doing. So that's the way I see that. Up on the Hill, we have Representative Gosar, who runs around threatening people, and some people say it's a joke. Well, I'm glad to see that they're going to censure him. I think that's what's going to finally happen. The other good news over in Stockholm, and I don't believe China is present, and I believe Kerry probably carried the water on this because he's in charge of dealing with global warming, that China and the United States are going to try to work something to make a difference in global warming, and that's a big story. So that's kind of how I see things. If I seem lethargic, it may be I spent too much time writing, so I'm not very social today. But I am very disturbed by that trial because I've stood before judges and we've had shouting matches. And maybe lay people shouldn't watch trials because they can get pretty personal and pretty intense. And they should be. Zealous should mean something. And the only speech that's worth anything is robust, about the things that are important in life, and you can run through what they are. In this case, it's about, does the law mean anything when some kid violates gun laws, age laws, travels across a state line, and kills 2 people and wounds a 3rd one without any good cause? Just wrong. So I hope you had a good day, and hope you get out. And tomorrow maybe I'll talk to you earlier. Bye-bye.